Okay, I just can't let this go because like this is just such an area of confusion that basically nobody has it right. So on that last video that I just put up, somebody commented, "I'm pretty sure the original aspect ratio Final Fight wasn't exactly 4:3." And watch Firebrand X's video about retro games and aspect ratios. It's a pretty educational video about the subject. So Firebrand X has no idea what he's talking about, and this is just another example of just people parroting shit that they see and not even verifying if it's actually right. So I want you to look at this and tell me how much Firebrand X knows about this.
A Saturn cannot. So anytime you get into those fanboy wars, you can always point out, hey, the PlayStation can actually do CPS resolutions, whereas the Saturn cannot.
Okay, so he makes this whole video acting like he knows all about this stuff, and the thing that's fucking comical is, I mean, it's just demonstrably wrong. So here's a direct dump, a raw resolution dump of the PlayStation 1 Street Fighter Alpha 3. So notice first of all that its horizontal resolution is 368. The PlayStation's closest resolution to CPS hardware was 368. CPS actually ran at 384. So basically, he's completely fucking full of shit. He's already completely wrong. All of his assumptions, everything that he said, all the assumptions that he made are based on a fact that he has wrong about it. So he has no idea what he's talking about. So basically, the resolution that the PlayStation does is 368 by 224. So basically, this guy's been pumping people full of half truths and misinformation, and they think that he knows what he's talking about, but he doesn't. And I'll just tell you this: it's pretty unwise to fucking argue about aspect ratios. When you're talking to somebody who literally reprogrammed Final Fight. Okay, it's probably a fucking bad idea. And look, here's the thing. Basically, like, you always see these dumb arguments from people that say, like, oh well, I can cherry pick this one Super Nintendo game, and when I stretch out this Super Nintendo game to exactly 4:3, one moon in one background isn't a perfect circle, and so here's my grand theory about how this should all work. It has nothing to fucking do with that. Like here's the reality, okay? All of these, well, not all of them, but I mean, most of these old devices, they were designed to be displayed on 4:3 screens, okay? Now, any developer that knew what they were doing was going to design for that. Consumer NTSC TVs, tended to come out of the factory with settings that had a lot of overscan in them, just because TV, like those 80s and early 90s TVs, actually had bezels that kind of covered part of the tube, and so that's why they had overscan because basically like they had like weird bezels and different shit going on. And it also had to do with television broadcasts, where depending on how people film shit, you could often see like boom mics in the top of the top corner of the screen or something. But like I said though, what makes me laugh about all these guys, they never talk about the dozens and dozens examples of games where the circles and shit like that all look perfect when you stretch out the game to 4:3. So the bottom line is that when you see those games where when you put them at 4:3 and things seem like they're off, that was because the artist of the game fucked up and didn't properly account for the stretching that would happen on a 4:3 image. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't calibrate your monitor correctly. And what emulation, like things like MAME actually give you out of the box, it's an ideally calibrated monitor. Essentially that's essentially the equivalent of it. Where, like if like say Final Fight, the arcade game, for example. If you played the Final Fight arcade game, on a real arcade monitor, if it was properly calibrated, it would actually take up the full fucking 4:3 tube. It would. I mean that's just how it is. So like I said, I'm so sick of this shit. Like people trying to convince you that you should actually have letterboxing or pillar boxing when you play some of these games. When the truth is, it's all dependent on whether like the people making an individual game fucked up with the way they created the art. A properly calibrated 4:3 CRT will take up the full fucking tube. I mean that's just how it is. So I'm just getting so bored of this of people just not fucking getting it.